Wolf that baby.
Oh, it's
Hey.
barking. It's barking. Okay.
Ow.
His first name is Hollywood, bro.
One of the best arms in the country. That's his ceiling.
Okay, buddy. Okay.
I think Carson Beck, I know he's been a disappointment for sure.
Welcome back, college football fans, to the Inside Insight Show, NC State edition. Now, we haven't done one of these since the Louisville game, and if I'm being honest with you, Leighton, I think it's because opposing teams' fans were a little bit scared. I'm just saying They weren't willing to come on and chop it up, but not those Wolfpack fans or anyone from the Tuffy Talk channel.
Hey, if being an NC State fan, you got to have thick skin. It's not something you choose, it's something you're born into, and you're through the thick and the thin, as I know Miami fans can feel for sure. So we're a lot more alike, Coop, than I think maybe some Miami fans may realize. So.
Well, and to be fair, we confirmed back in 2023 that you guys were in fact raised by wolves. So
we do that.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. So if you could take just a moment before we dive into this game a little bit and just tell the people a bit about yourself. I noticed the name, well, maybe you can fill us in on that there. Tyler Van Dyke Fan Club. Okay, buddy. Okay. Getting off to a hot start here. And let them know where they could find you as well.
Yeah, no. So Leighton, born and raised NC State fan. Actually, went to NC State. Was a first generation college student in my family. Most of my family is born and raised working at NC State athletics, and so I've always been an NC State fan my whole life. And so Tuffy Talk. We're just basically 5 NC State fans that just love NC State. Talk all sports NC State, whether it's basketball, gymnastics, even wrestling, you name it. We talk about it for sure, and we love it. So you can check us out on social media at Tuffy Talk Now, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and also too as well. You can check out our. We usually do live shows once a week right now, and you can check that out on YouTube and any podcast site that you listen to. You can find us there, Tuffy Talk.
And I want to kick it off by asking you something that I've been dying to know.
Yep.
And that's honestly just your thoughts on head coach Dave Doeren in his 13th year. 1 win away from bowl eligibility, but best case scenario is 8-4 in the regular season. Is that good enough? Because I don't know what the realistic expectations were in 2025 for NC State fans.
Yeah. No, I think that it's a love-hate relationship for sure with Coach Doeren, and hate's a strong word for sure, but obviously that's the prototypical terminology, love-hate. But he's a guy that is NC State through and through. He's a guy that's a country guy. He wears cowboy boots. He drives pickup trucks. He loves bass fishing. Like, he is totally like NC State. And he's a hard, tough-nosed guy that speaks his mind. Has no issues. Laying it all out there for sure if it's called upon. But also too as well is that he runs a very disciplined, well-cultured program. It's a team that doesn't typically have many off-field issues. It's a culture that players want to be around, and it's also too a team that NC State fans love to watch. Why do you say that? I think we just sold out our 28th straight home game in a row.
That's impressive.
Sold out season tickets now for I think probably like 6 years running, something like that. So I think it's tough for NC State fans because the floor has been raised for sure. I mean, Coop, I remember a time back in the Tom O'Brien years, 2010, 2012, where if we were 6-6 and beat Carolina, that was a thumbs up year. Good year. Love it. Now you win 8 games and State fans are pissed. You beat ECU and State fans are pissed. And so it's sometimes hard to kind of remind us State fans like, hey, just remember 13 years ago, we were 6-6 beating Carolina happy. Now we're 8-4, 9-3 and not happy, But again, it's all about, yes, the floor has been raised, but the ceiling hasn't been where State fans want it, which is an ACC championship contending level.
You mentioned, the floor being raised for NC State fans, and I figured part of possibly what goes into that is having quarterback CJ Bailey, who Miami fans are quite familiar with, some
Mhm.
some homegrown talent. Maybe some Canes fans a little upset that he's not on the Miami roster at the moment. So I just wanted to kind of ask you here, he's playing pretty well. Could you tell me a bit about what makes CJ Bailey so special? And is he going to stay at NC State next year? Is he thinking about hitting that portal and coming on
Uh-huh.
down to South Florida? Or
Hey,
thoughts on
listen,
that?
Coop, I'm gonna clip. I think it was 3 weeks ago after the Notre Dame game when I jumped on the show and asked, "Are you interested in CJ Bailey?" And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Coop, you said, "Nah, we're good" at the time. So I'm gonna clip that and I'm gonna hold to it, saying, "Nope." Coop and Miami said they're good. They don't want CJ Bailey. So, but yeah, no doubt about it. Listen, hey, we're NC State, for sure. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you and say that we're playing the same game here. We definitely have less money to work with for sure. If you offer CJ Bailey $4 million, what you're offering, what you get Carson Beck for right now, we
I heard it
probably
was.
won't be
I
able.
heard we gave Carson 15 million.
Yeah,
Is what I
we're
heard on
not gonna be able,
Twitter.
we're just not gonna be able to pay that. We're
Yeah.
if you offer that, I'm gonna say thank you, good sir. Have a good day. Don't blame you one bit. So, but what makes CJ special? Arm talent is, one of the best arms in the country. That's his ceiling for sure. Now, but also too his ability to run. He is a guy that's not afraid to run the ball. We do run design QB draws on him. And he's a guy that also too plays with a lot of confidence. Again, really stepped into a really tough position last year when Grayson McCall went down, and still made a pretty decent season out of a very, very rough situation. But also, again, he's a 6'6" guy, so he has great vision for sure. And again, he has all the talent in the world to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country. But the thing that's been holding him back, I think, is a little bit of confidence. At the beginning of the season, we ran a lot of RPOs, so forcing him to make decisions mid-play
Mm-hmm.
that did not go well. We've really stepped back from running that and run more actually. One of the things I noticed during Georgia Tech game that I think really helped him was we did a lot more motion pre-snap. And I think what that did was that really helped CJ get more information pre-snap, so that way he can make a decision before the ball's even snapped where he's going to go. And basically, I'm based on how good our weapons are. More than likely, his first or second option is going to be there. And so, really, from there, it's just him taking his arm talent, putting the ball right where it needs to be, and making a play.
What would you say is NC State's biggest strength right now? And it can be going up against Miami specifically, or it could be just in general.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be the pass game, point blank. Offensive line wise, PFF wise, we grade out really well when it comes to pass coverage. But also, too, as well as, again, I mean, we're not a one trick pony. I can name you all the different weapons, whether it's Justin Jolie, a tight end, you got a wide receiver, you got Noah Rogers, Ohio State former 4-star recruit that transferred to NC State. Wesley Grimes, who's been a baller, a senior. You also got guys like Terrell Anderson, Keenan Jackson, who are sophomores, Teddy Hoffman, who's a true freshman. And then out of the backfield, you got Hollywood Smothers, you got Duke Scott, who ran for 196 yards against Georgia Tech. So you got so many options out there. That's why I was saying to you, Coop, and that, I mean, you're not going to be able to just focus on one guy and shut him down and beat us. It's going to have to be a total team effort defensively to stop us. Now, what can get in the way of that? And I know I've actually watched your video, Coop, how you said one of the keys to the game is pressure. And I think
Mm-hmm.
if you can get to CJ, get him off his game, make him a little bit off kilter, he'll do one of two things. He'll start to hold on to the ball too long, or he'll start to force the ball and where it doesn't need to be. And so that's really, I think, the biggest strength right now for us is that if CJ has a clean pocket, if you give him 4 or 5 seconds, he'll throw it all over. I think most defenses in the country for sure. He'll be able to do that.
Now for the fun one that Canes fans are waiting for because they know it's coming up
Weakness.
next. Biggest weakness.
Weakness.
Now, I would like to take a quick timeout to give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video, Sleeper, the #1 sports app. And we have a little bit of Thursday night football action going on tonight, Jets versus Patriots. And I want to share my picks, and we're going to enter a little bit of a picks contest here. So what you can do is turn your football knowledge into real money, and we're going to try to do just that. So here are the picks that we have. We're going to throw $5 on it. Wait, guess what? Sleeper does have a promo here, 20% boost. Let's definitely apply that. Turning $5 into $22.40 on this Thursday night. There you have it. We'll be tracking these picks tonight on Sleeper. Once again, shout out to them. Check them out. Link in the very top of the description. And make sure that you use code word COOP, COOP. That way you can get the 100% deposit match up to $100 on that first deposit. And you can also activate getting $20 for free with no deposit needed. So maybe you could even lock in these picks and we could track them together tonight during this game. Shout out to Sleeper. Check them out. Absolutely love the app. Let's get back over to Leighton.
Our secondary for sure is struggled for sure. We're definitely going through a lot of injuries right now. Jackson Vick, one of our starting corners, he's been out. Trey Thomas, who actually was great as our best pass defender against Georgia Tech, played 6 snaps, was phenomenal, but got ejected for targeting. So he's going to be out the first half against Miami. I think the biggest thing that's going to happen is that if NC State's going to win this game, it's going to be because of a lot of points are scored. I don't think that this is a game where we're going to hold Miami under 21 points, something like that. I think Miami is going to get theirs for sure. This is a defense that I think really relies on we're going to bend but don't break. Again, against Georgia Tech, it's not like we beat them 24-17. We just had to score so many points to the point where basically we just had to erase the amazing performance that Haynes King and the Georgia Tech offense put on. That's kind of really where I sit at. And because I think the biggest thing that's really kind of every single time I've seen the NC State defense struggle, it's going to be because we overcomplicated ourselves. We beat ourselves. We were trying to do too much and we blew coverages. But against Georgia Tech, what you really saw a lot more of is a lot more simplification, a lot of cover 0, cover 1, cover 3, like basic stuff. And we're going to blitz some, we're going to not blitz. We're going to only bring 4 sometimes. It's really dumbed down, simple. Now it's going to be tough because obviously you guys have a pretty good wide receiver that, Malachi Tony for sure. And he's going to be a guy that I don't see NC State being willing to go man for man on the entire game.
How do you game plan for that guy? And I'm a Miami fan. And I'm over here like, if I'm a D coordinator, like I don't know how you prep for this guy.
Well, I think whatever Syracuse did, holding Malachi, I think under 20 receiving yards. I think that's how you do it right there. So we just do what Syracuse does, and we'll be fine. So he's an extreme talent for sure, and I think that he's due for a big game. He's going to want a big game against the NC State secondary. So again, I think we're going to be a little bit creative in how we, whether it's like a matchbox scenario, having a safety watch over, with a corner assigned on him. But I think you still see a lot of the same thing for NC State. Basic stuff, cover 0, cover 1, cover 3, with a little bit of creativity, and let's just bend but don't break, give our offense an opportunity to win the game for us.
What would concern you most about Miami specifically?
I think Carson Beck, I know he's been a disappointment for sure. With the hype that he came in with how he looked in the first couple of games, he hasn't played up to that level since, but he's still, he still can be an elite talent for sure. So I think it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, where if Carson Beck, decides to play his best ball, then, it's going to be tough for us to stop him. It's going to be really tough for us to stop him. But I think also too, on defensive side, Miami has a really good defensive line. Our offensive line is going to have, the work cut out for them. So I think that's the other big thing is just limiting. For us, you got to limit the sacks, limit the turnovers.
Do you have any injury updates? Specifically, I've been looking for the running back Smothers, and then possibly the tight end Jolie. Yeah, because I know Smothers missed the Georgia Tech game, correct? But then you
Correct.
had that other running back who came in, and you already mentioned him. He racked up some yards on the ground. But
Mhm.
Smothers is pretty darn good. Is he going to be playing or what?
Yeah, I mean, if I can hype up Hollywood Smothers a little bit, I mean, he's a guy that, in my opinion, right now, I'm already putting as one of the top 5
I
running
mean,
backs in NC State
his
history.
first name is Hollywood, bro. I
I know,
mean,
yeah. It doesn't hurt the case, let's put it that way, for sure, having a name Hollywood, but, I mean, he's a guy that's just so dynamic. He's a guy that reads, that has such great vision, but honestly, the biggest thing which I love watching about him the most is his balance, like, his ability to get hit but still stay on his feet and still be able to, be so shifty. I mean, his jukes, like, it's just so smooth, like, it's not like come to a stop, juke, and then accelerate again. Like he'll juke but keep moving. It's just so smooth to watch, and his balance is phenomenal. But a little bit of update again. I mean, we're recording this Coop at 1:30 on Thursday afternoon, so I know we got probably an injury report coming out here soon. I would guess that he's probably going to be questionable for this game, but he was seen during actually our an interview with Kenny Soares post practice. I believe it was yesterday
give us the
on
juice.
yeah, on Wednesday. Yeah, yeah, yeah. During one of the interviews, Kenny Soares, our linebacker, it was in our indoor practice facility, and there's a picture of Hollywood in practice, like jersey, pads, everything,
Okay.
inside the window of the practice facility. So it looks like he was practicing. So, but does he play? I don't know. That's a good question. But once again, if he doesn't go, Duke Scott, he's shown great ability to pass protect, and he's a guy once again that can be dynamic. He's not the fastest guy, but I mean he's a guy that power cleans 360. Very powerful guy, low center of gravity, and he'll and if you plant your feet as a defender on him and expect to take him down, it's not going to happen. And you asked too about Jolie.
Mm,
Short answer on that, don't expect him to play.
mm.
He's definitely something I haven't heard a lot of, or sorry, he's a guy that I haven't heard really much good news about. But it's a bye week. You never really know
And
how he's
something
thinking
happens
of it.
when these teams play Miami. Not to interrupt you, but these
No.
guys get up, man. These guys, hey, last week, dude had a broken ankle. This week, Miami's on the schedule. Guess what? He's
Right.
suiting up. We've seen it time
Hmm.
and time again, Leighton. I'm just saying. So
Hmm.
I'm anticipating NC State's full roster to be ready to go. Now, can you give me a name or two that Miami fans should expect to hear pretty often on Saturday? And you can even go with the obvious answer. It's fine.
Yeah. Uh, you know, Obviously the offensive side, I mean, I've named every name for sure. I mean, with this NC State offense, it's a offense that we really invested a lot in this offseason for sure in keeping around, with the guys like Noah Rogers, Justin Jolie, CJ Bailey, Hollywood Smothers. So I won't really go there. I'll actually go more on the defensive side. Two names I'll give you.
Okay.
That's Bastion Harsh and Sion Salone, who Sloan is a transfer, I believe, from Utah State, and then Sebastian Harsh is a transfer from Wyoming. And these are two guys that from the very first game against ECU really popped a ton. Sebastian Harsh, I think, is by far our best run stopper. He's a guy that definitely has an act for sure with the ability to get in on a pulling guard and really be able to set the line back. And then Cian Salone, who's really been who's shown great ability to disrupt with pass rush. So those are two guys I think that with having two edge rushers like that are guys that aren't really talked about a ton, but I think honestly that they've been our best defensive players this whole season so far.
Now, could you give me, before we get to pick and score prediction, which is
Yep.
coming up next, I know what the people want to see.
Hmm.
Could you give me a major key to NC State walking away with the victory? I know you've kind of touched on a few things and maybe hinted at some things that are very important, but what would be like a major key? Like this must happen for NC State to be victorious.
Yeah, I think honestly for me, it's funny because against Georgia Tech, we did something that doesn't get done very often, which is we won the coin toss and we got the
Ah,
ball. which is
Ah,
very not normal for sure. But why is that? Because I think that for NC State, that first of all, there's a lot more confidence for sure on the offensive side than defensive side, which is without being said. But also, I think that there's something to be said about playing in front, playing with control of the game. Because I think that, especially for Miami, again, correct me if I'm wrong, Cooper here for sure, but it seems like for sure that if Miami's playing their ball, they're tough to beat for sure.
oh
But
yeah.
if they start to have to play from behind, if they're starting to force themselves to play outside their game, they start to get rattled a little
We
bit for
get
sure.
very
So
uncomfortable
very
if
uncomfortable,
we're
right?
playing from behind.
So I mean, I think honestly, like I think you even said it in your video, starting out fast. I truly do think that whichever team, let's say, scores first, and whichever team is leading at halftime, that's gonna be a pretty good sign of who's gonna be winning that game for sure.
Let's get down to the nitty gritty, some actual numbers here, Leighton.
Yep,
And
let's
I'm
do
going
it.
to break the ice.
Yep.
I do have the orange and green, the good guys, on top on Saturday, 31-24. But to be fair, this is only a 7 points victory. And, you mentioned 14.5 point favorite. I checked this morning. They have bumped that up to now 15.5.
Mhm.
But I'm not super crazy confident in Miami covering that. I think that NC State, I think that the road woes continue, but I think that they'll put up a heck of a fight. And maybe it's the Miami PTSD.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, because Miami doesn't seem to play their best ball in November, and I know a lot of people are going to say, but every game for Miami is a playoff game. That was true against SMU, and they still dropped the game.
Yep.
Now, this isn't SMU, but I think that NC State does have the firepower offensively, the ability to keep this game within reach and it possibly be a close one. So I got 31-24, but I know everybody wants to see your score prediction or pick, Leighton.
Yep. No, I mean, I'll be completely honest, Coop, for sure. How I feel about this game is really simple. It's either going to be Miami winning by a possession or less, or NC State winning, or we're going to get blown out. It's
Oh,
simple. It's one of the two ways. I don't see it being a 14-point win for Miami. I truly do see it being 7 points less, or NC State win, or the other side, which is Miami winning by like 21-24, and it just being kind of like the Pitt game for NC State, where it wasn't even close. It was
right.
Pitt absolutely demolished us for sure. And so, but it really just comes down to that. I think that with NC State, which NC State offense do you see? Because I think that honestly the defense will not set the tone for the offense. I mean, we've seen games this year, whether it's Notre Dame, for example. Notre Dame, we the defense kept it close. They had two fourth downs, turnover on downs, but yet the offense couldn't deliver, couldn't get the lead, couldn't get momentum, and eventually the defense just ran out of steam, and Notre Dame ran away with it. So I think if the offense sets the tone, comes out early, sets it, really sets the tone early, the defense will follow accordingly and will give the offense opportunities to win the game. So with that being said, I am going to hope and pray that we see a lot of what we saw against Georgia Tech with a very confident CJ Bailey. I think that Hollywood comes back and has a game where he gets a touchdown or two. And I think the defense gives you enough to win the game. So I'm going to go 35-31 NC
Ooh,
State. I'm going to go
okay.
30. Yeah, I'm going to go 35-31. I'm
A
going to show some
heartbreaker
confidence to my NC
there
State fans.
for the
Again,
Canes.
I know. Hey, listen, you said at the beginning, Coop, a lot of, opposing fans are scared of the Miami fans. Hey, listen, Miami fans out there, I will fully take the heat for sure if NC State does not pull it out. Bring it on. It's all good. It's all fun. Love it. And so, it's good to be here. And, hopefully, I could be happy at the end of the day. But I'll be honest with you, Coop, just keep in mind, once again, though, for this game, I think that the thing that plays really NC State's hands for this game, we don't really have a whole lot to lose. As 14, 15.5 point underdogs, I mean, listen, if you lose by a possession, I mean,
I mean,
wholeheartedly, that still looked as a win for sure. I
there
mean,
is definitely a ton of pressure on Miami because I'm sure you
yeah,
saw the CFP rankings. giving a lot of hope to Miami fans, but you're sitting there
Yeah.
with 2 losses. What happens in the ACC with the conference championship game? And
What a
either
weird
way,
situation.
the entire conversation is pointless if Miami drops another game, period.
Exactly.
And, I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but a lot of Miami fans feel like that the Canes should beat NC State, but we go back
Absolutely.
to the same thing a lot of times, Miami versus Miami, our own biggest enemy, especially under Mario Cristobal in November. He's known for this at times. Can they? Yeah, we were 14.5-point favorite against Louisville. A lot of times Miami fans feel more confident going into the big games, the big ranked matchups, maybe an underdog.
Exactly.
Here, you're a 2-score favorite. Can they handle business? Can they lock in? Final game at Hard Rock Stadium. Can you go out with a
Senior day,
bang
baby.
at home here?
Yep.
Layton's got it close. I got it close, but we're on 2 different sides of the fence here. Canes victory over here, NC State victory over there. Layton, I appreciate you very much, my man, for taking the time to come on here. You might get verbally assaulted in the comment section, maybe not. Kind of depends on,
Okay.
how the fan base is feeling today, if they woke up on the wrong side of the bed or not. But we're on edge a little bit, okay? I'm just being honest. We are.
I get it.
But a ton of respect for jumping on here. You guys, you have a thing?
Go Pack, baby.
That's like a wolf head?
Wolf head, baby.
Oh, it's
Hey.
barking. It's barking. Okay.
Ow. You know about that, Coop. You know about that. You did in your underwear.
Dang it, I
Ow, you got
do.
this.
You're right. Man, never again. Never again.
Never again. Never again.